right, happy Monday. I got a great piece of advice from a friend the other day, and I just wanted to share it with you. And last week was very hectic for the family. We were separated from the kids for a few days because we were moving into a new house. We had painters in. The kids couldn't be there because of the fumes and whatnot, and there was just boxes everywhere. And, you know, I was a little behind with the business, and it was just a little overwhelming, right? There's just so many things going on. But for the first time in a long time, I looked around and I didn't even know where to begin. There was just so much to do, right? And at the same time, I'm blessed. I'm very happy, everything that's going on. We're moving into a bigger place for the kids. It's great. Everyone's healthy, nothing to complain about, right? But at the end of the day, life gets overwhelming sometimes. And in that moment, I felt super overwhelmed and I had no idea where to begin. And my friend happened to call me and we were having a conversation, and I kind of just opened up to him a little bit and told him about what was going on. And he gave me a very simple but really effective piece of advice, and that was, listen, man, I know you got a lot going on. The only thing you can do is one thing at a time. And I know it's such a simple phrase, but man, it really hit me. And in that moment, I was just like, all right, I got to just go do that one thing. And then one thing led to two things, led to three things, and before you know it, I could see the light, and we're almost done fully moving into the house. The kids are back home and things are getting back to normal. So again, just do one thing at a time.
Today I'll skip over the usual stuff in the beginning just because it's the day after the holiday, and this is usually the busiest time of the week. So just a reminder, we're doing the scoreboard tracking starting this week. So if any of you have any questions about how to track the numbers in the Google Sheet, you should all have access to it. If you look at our calendar invite and you click on it from our Google Calendar, there should be a little note. You should see like a little note section. It's like a Google Doc that you can click on and it'll open up, and I'll put the sheet in there so we could see it. And then Marcia, can you run the renewal personal lines and commercial lines list for December? So, and then if you can on your calendar,
I'll do that.
on your calendar, just put the 15th of every month, run the list for the next month.
All right, happy Wednesday. Just tried out a new gym in the area that I moved to. Been trying out a few new places to find out where my new workout home is gonna be. Trying to keep it local if I can, but I found out in my area, there's not that many gyms super close to me, so we'll figure it out. Anyways, I wanted to hop on here and discuss to you about creating a niche. I know we've been talking a lot about creating a niche. You saw a call with Taylor and I a couple of episodes ago where we really dove deep onto what we're trying to accomplish within this specific niche and picking that specific niche. So as most of you know, I picked the niche specifically in the electrical contractor space here in New York with 5 or more employees. I made the landing page, I got the supplemental app created, the email signature, all that stuff is custom designed to the niche specifically. And one of the things that I wanted to share with you that I think is going to be an absolute game changer is I found a local association that I was able to join that's specific to electrical contractors. And it's so funny because I called them, no answer, sent them an email, asking to join and that I'd be interested in attending a meeting. They basically told me, sorry, you can't come to the meeting because we already have an agent here. Thanks anyway. So I reached back out, just told them, listen, I really appreciate it. Here's a little bit about my background. The next day, they wound up emailing me back and saying, hey, funny enough, the agent in our group is actually retiring from the group. So we'd love to have you come to our holiday event, which is in a couple days. So I'm actually going to that tomorrow night. I know absolutely nobody at this networking event. So that always makes it a little bit interesting and a little bit nerve-wracking. But at the end of the day, I just got to go there, be myself, learn about other people, and try not to spew all the insurance talk onto them, and just be more of a listener and make that about the first few meetings and get to know more about the organization and see what happens from there. So I'm excited for this new part of the journey. I used to be in a BNI group and, some of the local networking groups here in my area. But what I found is that I was getting a lot of leads that I necessarily didn't want. For instance, like somebody wanted help with a quote for their, ATV or boat, or they wanted a quote for just their cars and not their home, or just their home and not their cars. And I wound up getting a lot of leads that I really didn't want. And I was very intentional going to these meetings about saying what my niche is and what I want. But that's not necessarily the audience I want to be around. So now with this, it's specific to electrical contractors. I'm talking to a group of electrical contractors. So I'm not sure it gets any more niche than that, but we'll see how it goes. I'll keep you guys posted and we'll talk about it soon. So before you diversified a little bit, when you were solely focusing on growing the insurance agency, obviously you have a book about growing by referrals. And it's something that actually my mentor, Patrick Bet-David, has talked about, which is when he grew his PHP, which is more of a life insurance agency. But the way he grew that was the same thing as you said. He didn't buy leads. He didn't do all this stuff. All he focused on was how to target and hone in on the referral process. So you get a family member, how do you work referrals from them specifically? So I'm just curious, like what's your process of getting referrals? Like where in the sales process does it happen? And what have you found to be most successful for you that works really well within the agency?
Yeah, absolutely. It's the execution is where it gets difficult. But what I do now is think about if you go fishing and your goal is to put the bait on and cast and reel in how many times and try to catch X number of fish, right? I realize I can try to catch 200 fish by myself, long days out there, right? Just constantly throwing it in and reeling it back. Or I can kind of stroll the banks of the river, the lake, whatever, and talk to the other fishermen and build meaningful relationships with them. And then when they have a big day and they've got 6 or 7 fish and they go, geez, I only needed 3, right? And then they would throw me 1 or 2 of them. And so I said, instead of trying to find 10,000 prospects in my community one by one, cold traditional ways like everyone else is, what if I found a couple hundred people who were already doing business with the people that I want to do business with and just focused on those couple hundred and built deeper, more relevant relationships with them? And then through the years, they throw me 10, 15, 20, 50 referrals through the years. And I'm getting to my same 10,000 people, but now I'm doing it in a more cost efficient way, a higher conversion rate, bigger retention numbers, and so really what I do now is instead of trying to find individual prospects, I'm dealing with people in parallel markets.
All right, so last night I attended that Electrical Contractors Association that I joined. It was my first meeting. I didn't know absolutely anybody there. I was telling my producer about it and he's like, hey, did you pitch him on insurance? I mean, I actually did the complete opposite. I went to this event. I tried not to even tell anybody what I did. I just talked to people, asked how they got in the business, how long they've been in the industry for, learned more about their backstory, what they really specialize in, what I can learn about how the format of these meetings are set up. And I just tried to be a sponge and just show people I truly cared and wanted to help out. And that's how I'm going to handle the first few meetings, honestly. And I think for me, that fits my personality best. And when it comes time to do the 5-minute presentation I need to do, I'll be able to make my pitch then. But until then, I'm going to be all ears. But, I was nervous going into it because, again, I didn't know one person there. So I think naturally I'm a bit of an introvert. So I get a lot of negative thoughts that pop in my head. Like, oh man, no one's going to want to talk. I'm insurance. These are all contractor guys. I'm not going to fit in. But it all worked out. Again, you just got to ask the right questions. I had 2 or 3 really simple questions I wanted to ask, and I just asked everyone there. I actually lost my voice a little bit asking so many questions yesterday, but overall, the event was great. I'm looking forward to see how it goes and keeping you posted with how, being a member of that association goes. Next week, we are going to start cold calling. I did put a whole list together as far as the prospects I need to reach out to in the electrical space, in New York specifically, over a certain premium and employee size. So excited to get that going, excited to have more content around that come out for you guys.